You're listening to Strange by Nature, your guide to the strange, weird, unbelievable, and improbable wonders of the natural world.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for being here today. I'm Kirk Mona, and joining me are Rachel Gimza and Victoria Thompson. We're all naturalists who together have scoured the world for weird and wonderful wonders, just to please your mammalian brain's desire for novelty. Isn't that nice? Let's do this.
Alrighty, well, welcome to the show, everyone. It's me and Victoria. I get to have us get started. Hey, Victoria, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. So Kirk is off this week, and he'll be off next week.
Yes.
Which is really funny because I'm actually currently in Kirk's house dog sitting for him. So I get to record at Kirk's house, and he doesn't get to be here. So
it's very strange.
But I hope it's very strange. But we are hoping that he's having a great vacation and not melting in the sun, which he might be.
Yeah.
But,
hopefully he'll make it back.
Hopefully not.
Meanwhile, we have a great show for you guys.
Yeah, we do. Okay, so I get to start us off this week, and I'm really excited, Victoria. Okay,
I'm excited to hear
on
what you
the
brought.
show.
Yes.
Oh, good. This is one of those topics that more recently came across, like my dash. Someone sent me some of my best friends will just send me different topics just randomly all the time, and this came across. I'm like, oh, I'm going to talk about that. Okay. So, on the show, we've talked about a wide variety of different time periods. We've jumped around. Well, we haven't talked about the future necessarily because that's hard for us to do, but we've talked a lot about the past and different time periods and epics.
Sure. Yes.
And we're always learning new things about different time periods and different epics. I'm talking about the geologic term period, an epic.
EPOCH, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Not what we think of as a time period, which is like a millisecond. But we're learning all new things all the time because of what we're discovering in the fossil record, which we don't give enough recognition to fossils. I really want to say that. Like, the fact that we're able to look at fossils and just see a little snapshot of something that happened millions and millions of years ago is absolutely amazing.
Yes.
And very wild, especially since for a fossil to form in the first place, the conditions have to be just right for it to happen. So there's so much that we'll never get to know unless we get a time machine, which
I keep hoping for that.
I keep hoping for that. That's going to be, can you imagine the different colors of things? Anyway. So, off track.
Yes.
Planned off track, but off track. So, let's go all the way back to the Ordovician period.
Okay, remind me which one that is. It rings a bell, but...
It should. It's pretty far back. So, the Ordovician period was between the Cambrian and Silurian periods.
Okay.
Whenever I hear the Silurian, I always think of Doctor Who.
Oh, totally.
Anyway, yeah. So this is in geologic history. So put that in numbers, because most people, like, the Cambrian and Silurian mean nothing, right? Like, what is that in relation to the dinosaurs? It's before dinosaurs. To put it to numbers, it was 486.85 million years ago was the start of the Ordovician.
Okay.
And it went all the way to 443.1 million years ago. So it spans 41.6 million years.
A good chunk of time.
You know, it's funny you say that. That's literally the next sentence I have on there is, so a good chunk of time.
Mind meld, you and I.
Oh, we did it. We got there. So yeah, it's a huge chunk of time, right? Like, but periods tend to be, when we think of, like, generally speaking, most people think of the dinosaurs. Those were all part of the Paleozoic, like, era, is like those are all like periods, the Triassic period, the Jurassic. Wow, I'm just melding. Jurassic period, Triassic, and then there's one more in there. Cretaceous. Yeah. Those are all part of like the dinosaurs. So this is like one of those periods. So these are huge amounts of time.
Yeah.
Most organisms at this point in time, fairly obviously, lived in the water. Yes. It did, however, in this period of time, see the beginnings of the first plants coming onto land.
Okay,
this is when we first start seeing the first spores in the fossil record, so that's very exciting.
It like ferns and that kind of thing? Or not yet?
It would have not quite yet for ferns. It would have been mosses and bryophytes first. Okay. And then ferns, yeah. The single-celled little guys. So we got through, started to see the beginnings of plant life coming in onto land. Now, before plants got onto land, the land was just land, bunch of soil. There wasn't really anything to it. Nothing was living up there. There weren't microorganisms, nothing like that, because nothing was able to survive on land at this point.
So not really soil, plants, in other words.
Yeah, more just dirt. Rock, I guess. Yeah, I guess so. Most animals lived in the ocean and were invertebrates and arthropods. Mostly mollusks and arthropods were in the dominating species of the ocean. So those are animals without backbones. Think like horseshoe crabs and some, think horseshoe crabs and lobsters and clams and shrimp and krill and all of those things, right?
Trilobites?
Trilobites were huge.
Yeah. Love a trilobite.
Also, right? They're so cool. What fun. So during this period, we also do see the very first sharks, or the first like shark scales. We don't see shark teeth yet. We just see shark scales in this period.
Okay.
So this is when sharks started to appear, which I had to include that. I did look it up to make sure because, oh my gosh, I love sharks so much.
Sharks are older than trees.
Sharks are older than trees. They're older than a lot of things. So first sharks, this is also when you're seeing fish begin to develop, or you start to see the first bony fish. So the first animals with vertebrae and spines, as well as the first jaw fishes are starting to appear during this period of time in the Ordovician.
Cool, okay.
Right? So lots of things happening in this 40 million years, right? There's plants coming on lands, backbones are becoming more common, jaws are happening. But why? Right?
Okay.
Like there's no like reason necessarily for all of this to happen. There's just a Cambrian explosion, the Precambrian explosion, and then anyway.
The Cambrian explosion.
Yeah, it was the
Cambrian
Cambrian explosion.
There was a Precambrian extinction, right?
Extinction, yes. So there was just an explosion of life.
Uh-huh.
But now we're in a different period. What's going on? Why is there this diversification?
Are you going to tell us?
So, yes, I am.
Yay.
So something astounding also is happening on the planet. Overall, land didn't look like Pangea. We were in something that was called Gondwana. So most of the planet was ocean. Things were circulated along underneath. I'm using all these hand gestures, which is hilarious in an audio format. Things were circulating more along the southern pole, around where Antarctica is today in the southern hemisphere. Okay. It would go up to the equator and like was kind of connected. There were some islands and such, but for the most part, that's where land was. The ocean itself was just now getting deeper, which we'll talk about. Because of all of this, something called the Great Ordovician Biodiversification Event happened.
Okay. That's a mouthful.
Okay. Isn't it? They call it GOBE, GOBE, which is such a silly acronym. So for about 30 million years of this 40 million year period, animal life was exploding in diversity. And there's a lot of debate actually to why that happened. And there's a few different theories. So let's get into it.
Yeah.
In this period of time, there was a lot of tectonic and volcanic activity, which helped give like warmer climates, as well as allowing more minerals and things to enter the soil and the water.
Okay. Yeah.
Which, when there's more minerals and radiation in that way, it allows animals to diversify in the genetic structure a little bit more. Like, so over generations of time, it creates more pressure to diversify in some ways.
So like, was there increased radiation causing more mutations that are causing diversification? Oh, okay.
That's one thought. Yes.
Okay.
There's also been another theory is that overall, even though there is more tectonic and volcanic activity, this also meant that there was more global cooling that was happening. So the planet was getting a little cooler, which I guess makes sense in some ways, because if you have more volcanic activity, especially if it's in the air, it's going to cloud out the sun and create an insular layer.
With all the ash that's going into the air.
With all the ash.
Yeah.
Which we've kind of talked about before.
Sure.
But global cooling events have actually been tied to diversification events before as well, which is really interesting little tie-in that they've seen, or like at least a little pattern that's been seen a couple different times, which I would feel like would be the opposite. Like if the planet cools down, there would be less animals, but apparently not.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. And then another theory, another idea is that the ocean was becoming more oxygenated. So I mentioned that the ocean was getting deeper. The seas before this were pretty shallow, and since they were pretty shallow, it was harder for, stay with me on this, because I know it doesn't sound like it makes sense, because shallow allows oxygen to go down a little bit more, but when the oceans were getting a little deeper, it allowed there to be more expansion of animals and diversity of organisms to be able to go into new spaces.
Yeah.
And more oxygen allowed a wider or deeper water column. So it was different levels of oxygen within the water column. But
how were the oceans getting deeper, though? That's what I'm hung up on.
I think it had to do with the tectonic and volcanic activity that was happening.
So there used to be like more area of water, but it was shallower. But then more land was getting thrust up, and like plates were pulling apart. So, so the same amount of water, but just like arranged differently.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, my favorite theory that is around, which is what I wanted to talk about most today, was the Ordovician meteor event.
Oh,
have you heard about this?
No, I don't think so. But meteors are always exciting.
They are. And this one was no joke. So during this time, during the Ordovician, the Earth was hit by more meteorites than it ever has.
Wow.
And the reason why, and we're able to see this in fossil records, like they're able to find meteorites in the fossil record that all date to the same time period. So there are a bunch of craters and everything that there are more craters that have been found that date back to the same kind of period of time than any other time on Earth, which is wild.
Doesn't sound like a fun time to be alive.
Maybe not, but also it might be, because so what ended up happening was there was the meteorites had to come from somewhere, right? So there was a collision between Mars and Jupiter, between two meteors. Yeah. No. Between two meteors. No, Mars and Jupiter stayed where they were.
Okay.
Two meteors
I feel like I would have heard about this.
Right? Goodbye, one of the planets, most likely Mars. So there were two meteors that in between Mars and Jupiter. Also, that's the asteroid belt, so that makes a lot of sense. But these meteors were 100 kilometer each in size. So
that's sizable.
That's a pretty big meteor. And this collision was the biggest collision that we've seen in a billion years. And since then, billions of years within our solar system. Like, we've seen collisions outside of our solar system, but within our solar system, that's been the biggest.
Okay.
Yes.
So backing up, make sure I'm understanding you. So 200-kilometer meteors collided with each other?
With each other.
Okay. Got it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Somewhere in the meteor belts between Mars and Jupiter.
Yes.
Okay.
And that creates since they collided and they're both about the same size, that crushes them, right? And creates a big cloud of dust and a lot of velocity in both directions.
Chunks spewing off everywhere.
Chunks went everywhere. And a lot of those ended up coming towards Earth. So it created this giant cloud of rock, went everywhere. And like I mentioned, it can be seen in the fossil record, and they've been checking all of those craters and things like that. But what's really interesting is that those craters seem to be along a similar line of around the planet. And they all seem to hit within a 40 million year period. Do you know what that means?
No, I don't. Tell me.
Earth most likely had rings similar to Saturn.
Oh, what?
Isn't that so cool? So apparently, and this
so
is
cool.
Pretty recent, it is so cool. For about 40 million years, because of how the Earth rotates and our gravitational pull, these meteorites created a ring system. And as they slowly came in, which is what's happening, we're seeing that with Saturn itself too, is those are slowly impacting over those 40 million years, but they were trapped within our gravitational pull for a while. So Earth probably had rings around it, which is so cool.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so cool.
So were they mostly hitting around the equator then?
Yeah, they were mostly hitting around the equator, all around the planet. They were studying 21 different craters, and they all lined up pretty well in a line around the Earth of where it would have been. It's so cool.
That's amazing. Wow, Earth with rings. Imagine what that would have looked like in the night sky.
Right? How cool, especially since there wouldn't have been any light pollution or anything either. So everything is clear. You're seeing the Milky Way and everything, and you just have these beautiful rings surrounding the planet. Oh. I wish.
The past is a foreign country.
It truly is. So all of that backup information just to be able to talk about how Earth most likely had rings in our geologic history, which is so cool and so fun.
Well worth it.
Well worth it. That is what I wanted to talk about. It's so cool. My sources this week, Wikipedia gave me some good information about Ordovician, as well as the Ordovician diversification event, which is what it is also called. The paper that found all of this evidence suggesting the Earth had a ring in the Ordovician by Andrew Tompkins, Aaron Martin, and Peter Cawood, which was in Science Direct, and it's open access, everybody, so you can go ahead and read that paper. Woo! Universe Today also gave some ideas about. I'm not as much of a space person as Kirk, so right. I had to learn a lot of things about space and geologic history. Nature also had a paper called Asteroid Breakup, linked to the Great Ordovician Biodiversification Event by Berger Schmitz et al. Yeah, that is what I have today.
Super cool. Wow.
So fun.
Earth with rings.
Earth with rings. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it'll be Victoria.
we're back.
Yay!
Sometimes I find out about a creature that is not only, cool, weird, and fascinating on its own, but has connections to so many other episodes that we've done that I'm like, I have to do this one.
I love those moments. They're always so fun.
So today I am talking about the blue sea dragon.
Okay.
Well,
we've talked about leafy sea dragons, I think.
Right. So Kirk
and seahorses.
Yeah, Kirk talked about sea dragons a while back in episode 124. Those are seahorse relatives. They look kind of similar. A lot of them have that cool seaweedy camouflage. This is not. Yeah. These are not those. Not related.
I figured as much because you're talking about them.
Yes.
So he missed something, which is always very exciting.
He did not miss anything. It is an unrelated creature with a similar name.
I hate that. This is the problem with common names. This goes back to the mountain chicken all over again.
The mountain chicken,
which happens to be a frog.
Yes.
Yeah. I just talked about it with some coworkers recently of like, one of them was like, hey, give me some animals. And I'm like, oh, honey, I've got so many weird ones for you to look at.
Okay, well, the blue sea dragon
what is it?
Its Latin name is Glaucus atlanticus. It is a sea slug.
Does it live? Oh, it's a sea slug. Does it live in Atlantis?
It lives in the Atlantic and other places.
Okay. All right. Cool. I'll count that.
Yes. So I talked about sea slugs a few episodes back, specifically the sea hares or Aplysia, and all the cool things about them. Well,
they're so cool.
They are so cool. The blue sea dragon belongs to a different family of sea slugs. They're also gastropods, but they're called the nudibranches. Nudibranch?
Okay.
You've heard of nudibranch? Am I saying it wrong?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nudibranch, yeah.
Nudibranch, thank you.
Yeah.
So they are also incredibly cool. I'm gonna send you a picture right now.
Yo, I've seen this. This has been on my list.
Yes.
Oh, I have to take it off. This is so cool. These are so fun. Oh my God, Victoria. This looks like a real life Pokemon is what this is.
Exactly. It looks like a Pokemon.
That's what it's so tiny.
Can you describe it for our audience?
Oh man, I'm picturing like a particular Pokemon. It was like one of the legendary Pokemons. So it has a long body, what looks like a snail head, maybe. And then branching off in like 6. I guess it can be seeing other pictures, it could be like less than that, but generally like I think the adult is 6. So it has 6 like limb looking things, and at the end of each limb is like they look almost like feathers or the most amount of fingers you possibly could have, and just spread about.
It's like 3 pairs. So the first pair is kind of widest, and then the next pair further down is a little less wide, and then the last pair is
it looks like it's continuing to just grow more as it goes on, and
kind
just like
fractal
more
looking,
pairs.
Really.
Yeah. And obviously, since it's you know what? It looks like a blue dragon. That's what is going on here. That's why it's called
crazy,
that.
like ultramarine blue and white. Yeah.
It's like
beautiful.
It's gorgeous. It's like this blue. I would say it's like blue stripes with like white as like a base layer, and it's like this ombre effect on those like feathery fingers of sorts. I guess the phalanges you could call them. And they're not phalanges. There's no bones. But like,
I will tell you the word for them later.
It looks so cool.
Yes.
Yes. These look amazing. I can't wait to put this on social media. This is going to be so fun.
Yeah, they're amazing looking, really beautiful creatures.
They look like webbed feet that forgot to be webbed.
Great. Yes. I love it. So nudibranchs in general, have some differences from the Aplysia that we talked about. So they're carnivores instead of herbivores. They lack any kind of shell, where the Aplysia had like a kind of rudimentary internal shell. They do not have true gills. They have gas
What?
exchange structures that are not gills. And many nudibranchs have serrata, which are the outgrowths of the mantle that can be on their back or their sides, a little similar to tentacles. So those are the fingery, kind of feathery things on this blue sea dragon that we were talking about. And serrata can help with respiration because they provide extra surface area for gas exchange, and they can also be used for defense. And like the blue sea dragon, many nudibranchs have incredibly ornate colors and forms. They really are some incredibly beautiful creatures. And
they're gorgeous.
Yeah, very strange looking, some of them too. So back to the blue sea dragon in particular, these little guys live in the pelagic zone. That's the open ocean in tropical and subtropical areas throughout the world. When I say little, they are actually only about 3 centimeters long.
Oh,
yeah, like 1.2 inches. Yes. And they actually float on the surface. They partly use surface tension. Yeah. You wouldn't necessarily expect that.
I mean, if they don't have true gills, I guess they have to be able to somehow breathe, right?
Well, I think they do. I don't know if they get their oxygen from the air or the water. I feel like they still do gas exchange with the water. I didn't really look into that much. Okay. But they actually use surface tension to stay up in the water, as well as a bubble of air in their stomach. They swallow air.
That's so cute. Oh, that's so fun.
And that incredible blue surface that you saw in the picture, that is actually their tummy.
What?
They float upside down.
Up?
Yes.
Oh my Lanta. That is amazing. They are like back swimmers going just frog swimming all over the place, aren't they?
Yeah, they mostly drift. Fun. They can swim a little bit.
Okay.
But they also have counter shading. So normally, if you think, counter shading's where think about a lot of different fish or orcas or dolphins. They have that.
Or birds.
Yeah, birds. They have a dark black or gray or blue color on the top and a light color on the bottom. So that's when they blend in, both looking down from above and looking up from below.
Right.
Well, for this sea dragon, their belly is bright blue to blend in with the ocean looking down from the sky, and their back is a silvery kind of grayish bluish color to blend in with the sky.
Yeah.
So it's like the opposite of most creatures because they are upside down swimmers.
Yeah. Okay. Completely makes sense.
Yes. Well, I mentioned at the beginning there were several connections that this creature has to other episodes. So there was the name and also the fact that it's a kind of a sea slug, but there's also what it eats.
Okay.
Yes.
You said it was a carnivore.
It's a carnivore. What this guy eats is, not going to lie, pretty metal. It eats Portuguese man-o-war and by-the-wind sailors.
What?
Yes.
That's nuts.
Yes.
Oh, man. So it's floating on its back, hoping to just, wow. Those are also things that can't really, swim. Dang,
yeah, so this guy can swim. It can swim towards its prey. But they're all kind of floating along together, right? And just in case some of our listeners haven't heard those episodes, which you should definitely go back and listen to.
Yeah.
Portuguese man-o-war and by-the-wind sailor, these are both examples of colonial hydrozoans. So they are related to jellyfish, but they're not jellyfish. They are actually incredibly cool creatures that are not an animal, but they're colonies of individual polyps that all work together by taking different forms and functions to create this whole entity that is not an animal. It's a lot of little animals working together. It's so weird.
Right. It's so wild.
Yes.
But Portuguese man-o-war too, they're super venomous, aren't they?
Yeah, they have stinging nematocyst cells. They are rather dangerous, which is why you don't want to mess with them. But
the fact that they eat them.
Yeah, does not bother blue sea dragons. They're immune to the venom, and They have a sharp mouth part called a radula that they use to bite off chunks of these larger creatures.
Wow.
Yeah, there's also a floating sea snail, beautiful, like violet sea snail that it, sometimes. But yeah, it can swim. It can swim a little bit using its little wings, flipper things.
That's so cool.
But there's more. Okay, so those Serrata, I mentioned they can be used for defense. This little slug actually swallows down a whole nematocysts and stores them in its Serrata.
What?
Yes. And then if it feels threatened, it can release the entire load all at once, which means it packs an incredible punch.
Yeah.
So,
oh my.
Because it can release all of the ones it's been storing at once, its sting can be up to 3 times as strong as from a Portuguese man of war.
Oh my. 3 times as strong?
That's what I read in one source, yes.
Oh my God.
The sting can be quite dangerous. I wasn't.
Yeah.
I didn't read about any particular fatalities, but I think it, under the right circumstances, it could probably be fatal. Symptoms include pain, obviously, nausea, vomiting, rash, different manifestations of the rash, swelling, itching, blah, 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 and later darkening of the skin in the affected areas.
Ooh, that's that's very bad.
So cute as these little pokey creatures are, do not approach. They do sometimes wash up on beaches, and people are inclined to pick them up because they're so cool looking.
No.
Don't do that.
They're very cool.
Do not.
Nope, use a stick.
Yeah.
Use a stick. Poke them back.
Get it into a bucket or something and look at it there. But do not touch.
Wow. Yeah, don't touch. That's nuts, Victoria.
Yeah.
I am. I'm going to have to take them off my list because I don't know if it might have been with when I was researching. It's been on my list for a while, but oh my God, that's so cool.
Yeah, they're so cool looking and they're amazing.
Absolutely. So cool. Yeah, I love it.
That's all I got. They're just a really cool creature. My sources this week were One Earth website, oneearth.org, which had a really good rundown of this animal. Also an article in Live Science, and also Wikipedia was helpful as always.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Victoria.
Absolutely. That's our short and sweet episode this week for you all.
I know. It's weird because Kirk isn't here, but hey, we are killing it.
Totally.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks everyone for listening to today's show. Be sure to subscribe. New episodes drop every Wednesday, and we love sharing this strange world with all our listeners. If you would be so kind as to leave us a 5-star rating and review wherever you get your podcasts, that would be great. It lets other lovers of the strange discover the show. You can reach us by searching for Strange by Nature Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and Blue Sky. You can send us an email as well. Our address is contact@strangebynaturepodcast.com. If you want more information about the show, you can check out our website, strangebynaturepodcast.com, and you can support the show and get ad-free episodes at patreon.com/strangebynature. Until next week, get outside, stay curious, and embrace the strange.